Testing 1, 2.
Hey. All right. All right, I'll call this meeting to order at 7 p.m. Adequate notice of this meeting has been given to the Express Times and Star Gazette, satisfying the Open Public Meeting Act. If we could please stand for a silent prayer and then flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Everyone, do these meeting minutes have to be separate?
Yeah, because I'm talking like Mr. December 17th, so we have to.
Okay. So do I have a motion for the December 17th meeting minutes?
I'll make that motion.
Second. Okay, second.
Oh, sorry.
Yes.
Dan Lee is absent. Dan Jelly.
Yes.
Kern.
Yes. All right. Do I have a motion for the January 7th meeting?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Okay, Becker.
Yes.
Black.
Yes.
Dan Lee is absent. Dan Jelly.
Yes.
And Kern.
Yes. All right. Do I have a motion to pay the bills presented in proper form, signed by the director of each department and approved by the majority of the members listed on the bill list? If Mary's bills are not signed, I would just say to approve them pending her signature.
I'll make that motion with those stipulations.
Second.
Okay, Becker.
Yes.
Black.
Yes.
Dan Jelly.
Yes.
And Kern.
Yes. All right. Public comment pertaining to agenda items. Are there any public comments pertaining to agenda items? Seeing none, we are going to move right on to the Phillipsburg Emergency Squad to speak about their ride-along program for council.
Stephen Mayor, Council, City President of Phillipsburg Emergency Squad. The Phillipsburg Emergency Squad implemented this year a ride-along program for councilmen, mayors of our three towns we cover, and also the public. The program, you don't have to, the councilmen and mayors don't have to fill out forms that we cover your town's insurance, but the public will have to. If you go on bebermoneyforrescue.org, there'll be a link on our website for the ride-along program, which the general public can fill out and fax to us or email it to me or Chief Leslie, which is also on the website. So we want to get this program implemented, so maybe hopefully people can at least do a ride-along program to see if they want to become EMTs or volunteer for our squad. We currently are very, very short-handed with volunteers. 2,700 calls last year, with the most the squad ever done in the squad's history, there's 76 years. And also over 500 mutual aid calls, which is the most the squad have ever had as well. So it's been very, very busy. We do not, myself and the board of directors do not want to go 100% paid 24 hours. First, it's very costly, and we want to keep our volunteers in-house, and the same thing with the towns. So if anybody in the audience or anybody knows anybody wants to volunteer, we'll go with them to EMT school. It is $1,000 a person that we pay for, so if you know anybody, make sure we here for these couple of years to continue their support for us. And if the councilman knows anybody, the mayor knows anybody wants to join, please come aboard. Again, we're just very, very busy with calls, and we're struggling to keep our volunteers. When we do have, we're very tired. People answering calls, and we definitely need help. I also want to go over our numbers for last year. I know there were some problems with billing, stuff like that we did last year, and the write-offs. Just for the record, the Phillipsburg Emergency Squad billed out over $1.3 million. The Phillipsburg Squad, because of our program that we have, the agreement with the towns, written off and lost debt between insurance, not paying, and when has insurance and stuff of that nature. We wrote off $861,000 in lost debt. Which is back on our audit. That's not because we spent it, it's because we wrote off all that debt. So the Phillipsburg Emergency Squad brought in $502,000 from billing, and our expenses last year were $569,000. We had to buy an ambulance last year because our other one we had unfortunately broke down, so we had to buy an ambulance. There's some also in that. There's also some donation money we get, so we end up with a plus of $34,000 that we put in our vehicle fund for this year. We need another ambulance as well, and they're $120,000 for a base ambulance. So, but the reason why I'm really here is because, stressing that we definitely need volunteers, and if you guys can help. The council's Do It Ride Along program. It's going to be awesome to have you guys there. It shows what we actually do, how dedicated our volunteers are, and our paid staff is on the day, how dedicated they are to answer the calls and to produce EMS coverage for your towns, along with rescue coverage, along with fire coverage with our Cascade unit, with both departments' air bottles. We do all that. So it'll be great to see you guys go along and see how it works. I also let the Alpha Borough as well know, and Phillipsburg Council mayors know as well. So hopefully you guys will be, come along and see how it actually works out. In 2013, we've answered 240 911 calls in the township that we did last year. I don't have anything really else to say to you guys. Thank you for your support. Appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Does anyone have any questions for the Phillipsburg Emergency Squad while they're here? Mine is just budgetary. Are you seeking the same donation as last year?
Yes.
Okay. I just want to, we'll be having our budget meetings probably, I think, Frank, we were shooting for February. But considering that, this is a similar spending, Frank, would we want them to come before us?
I think he presented the facts now.
Yeah, I think we wouldn't need you guys to come to that.
You have my budget for this year?
Yes, we have the budget, yeah. Yes, I do, and I'll circulate that to council so everyone has a copy of that. And just to echo what you're saying, we'll do our part to try to let people know that you're short on volunteers. I think I'm gonna do a ride along with you guys. I think that's a great idea. It'd be great to see what you guys do on a daily basis, and anything we can do, we'll try to get the word out that you guys need volunteers, because we don't want to see. You see what's happening in Frenchtown, and I believe, what was another one in Hunterdon County I saw, we're looking like they're not going to be around, and if that doesn't happen, it's going to be longer response times for residents and ultimately more costs too.
You are the biggest squad in surrounding 3 counties.
Wow.
So it's a lot of work. Behind closed doors, and our volunteers doing the calls. So a lot of work is in.
Well, we appreciate everything you do for our township, so thank you.
If you guys need, let us know.
I just thought of one question. What's your ratio of volunteers to salaried people?
We have right now 12.
Right now we're running seven paid staff, which covers 6A, 6P for the 2 trucks, the one that serves Alpha Borough and Pelican Township, and then our Phillipsburg crew, which is so we have 7 paid staff. I believe we're running on, honestly, about 13 or 14 volunteer EMTs, with an addition of extra first responders that don't have their state licensures yet to be EMTs. So taking quite a toll on volunteers.
What percentage of your volunteers do you think you're at? 50% of what you need, or less than that?
Our full membership is 50, and we haven't seen that since, the 90s?
Everybody has
You're at 25% basically, or close to it.
Everybody has 2-3 jobs, and we're going to put billboards downtown South Main Street. We're working on the treasure hunt. We're going to express time on Sunday, and that will be one day in the paper, and a week on nightlife.com as well, which again, the volunteers out there. We're spending money to get volunteers, which we're trying to. If it doesn't work out this year, I'm not the guy to go backwards. I'm the guy to go forward, and unfortunately, I have to put more paid staff on to cover the hours. I'm not leaving my town on it. So.
I have a question. So when you talk about the volunteers, those are the people who man the ambulances, correct?
Yes, correct. That's all of us, the ones that run the squad, and the foot soldiers out there answer calls.
So, is there somebody, if they wanted to volunteer, but that was not their thing, that they could do like data entry or something like that? is there any use for people to volunteer for those types of jobs?
There hasn't been yet. We have been considering like hybrid things, like people that just want to run on the. We haven't broken down almost into like secretarial work or stuff. Like people don't want to ride on the the ambulance where it's Band-Aid bus or whatever, and they just want to stick towards the vehicle
No,
rescue.
maybe they can't stand inside a bus.
Right.
That'll help.
We can find something to do, trust me. We're all like putting a lot of work in, at work, at night, at our houses, and it's too much even on us actually, we don't pay for it, so it's a lot of work.
To clarify, what is the difference between a first responder and an EMT as far as training?
First responder has their basic first aid CPR.
Okay.
And we're state licensed, we're held at a higher standard. So you have to have, for state law, 2 EMTs on a truck.
Oh, okay.
So we have to have 2 certified EMTs, which is 230 hours now. 220 hours of training.
Another thing comes in, you got to take into consideration to get volunteers. They got to go 6 months of college, to pretty much was it two nights a week, a few weekends in there. I want to say it was initially 10 hours of clinical rotation through the emergency departments and stuff. They got to write up clinical studies. It's no walk in the park for volunteers.
Mm-hmm.
And the city of Jersey making it very difficult and it costs.
Really, I don't believe that.
We're all out or,
And actually, with Phillipsburg, Chief, correct, all of our officers are first responders, correct?
Correct.
But the
Yes.
Phillipsburg Police Department is not, is that,
That I don't know.
or they,
We provide them with the same training as our first responders.
okay, so they, okay.
Yes, the basic CPR, they are trained on the bag valve mask and stuff, so it's actually for the professional rescuer. It's not actually, mouth-to-mouth CPR and stuff, so yeah, they would be considered first responders. With AEDs and whatnot, so.
If you know anybody who has training in this field, we also need people who train our staff, but we're short-handed with that as well. We don't want to hire anybody, they'll charge you $100 an hour easy. We want to put the burden on the town to ask for more money and continue on the write-off that we're doing. It's just, we better try to do the best we can with advertising and volunteers as much as possible. It cost me $8,000 this year without the advertising, but it cost me $8,000 advertising. Nothing else I can do. So, we are doing a brochure. We talked to the printing company today. They'll be in local stores in Alpha, Powhatan, and Phillipsburg, at the college for volunteers. We can do. Associate member, you don't have to do all the duties, but if you have time to just do a couple of nights or a couple hours, we're taking anything. Just have to do it. So.
Well, if you have any recruiting information, please send it to us so that we can get it out on our end. Yeah, we can put it on our website, yeah, and try to, yeah, and the age is it 18? 16, okay.
They can be licensed at EMT in the state of New Jersey at 16. However, they cannot provide care on their own until they're 18. But they can go to school. I believe it's 6 college credits they can get towards emergency
Oh, wow.
degrees. Might be more now since they almost doubled the course.
All right, well, that's all good information to know, too. All right, yeah, well, thank you again for your time tonight.
On the website, you can contact me. My email's on there. Again, you guys look up the paperwork. You can go to the town for sure. You guys have the background check done. So you can let us know when you want to do it. Put a date together. And hope we get a couple calls and talk. Thank you.
All right, thank you for your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Next, we have the Environmental Commission to discuss community gardens. So,
The Environmental Commission has adopted the idea of attempting to create a community garden. And we wanted to, the next step that we thought we should take would be to determine how much interest there is in that. So we determined that the most effective way would be through a press release. And so we wanted to present this idea to the council, to the mayor. We would write up the press release, forward it to you. If you approve it, we would then send it to the proper area.
Where were you planning on?
It's near the Sal Angeli Park. Dave, do you know the exact
There's
location?
a sliver of land, Mary, between the 2 houses down there, between Hilligis's and the other house. It's pretty flat. It's probably an acre in size. The town owns it. Gets plenty of sun. My presumption is it's probably pretty good soil because it's in the river bottom area there, kind of.
yes, very good.
But there's adequate space there, Mary, for sure.
All right?
Actually, so we would then, I guess, get that press release, do it, and then I think, we'll find out more information as it goes on. But were you able to locate any other areas in the township that potentially now that maybe could?
We had talked about down here below the municipal building, but it's not really flat enough and it possibly floods and it just didn't seem like a good spot.
Okay, and it has to be public property? It can't be, how does that?
I don't know that the only thing we would have to look into and make sure Green Acres allowed us to do it. And from what I understand, the research we've done so far, that would be the only thing. Just to follow up with our Green Acres liaison to make sure there's no issues there. I mean, in my eyes, it's ground we're already paying to mow the grass on. It would be, less grass we'd have to mow.
Kevin, do you know of any issues with community gardens and Green Acres?
Green Acres is open to everybody.
Yeah, well,
You can't limit it to township residents.
that's true. Wanda's correct about that.
And I don't
I
know,
don't know you're worried about that anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. The only, I see no legal issues with it. I mean, as far as, any type of community garden that goes on municipal property would be covered by our master insurance policies and things like that. So I'm not concerned about that. Maybe some signage in terms of hours. In terms of property, one of the items on my list, we are still working on getting some small pieces of property out by Carpentersville Road there. I don't know if that's convenient for anything.
yeah, I'm not familiar with it,
Yeah.
to
There's
be
open
honest.
space there that occasionally gets mowed type of thing?
Yeah, and well, it's, I guess when the DOT did that Carpentersville Road realignment,
It's just-
Oh,
it's
that.
just
Oh.
additional right of way. It's not,
it's not.
it's adding from
It's all on the one side.
3 feet to 66 feet, so it's 16 and a half foot wide strips along. the
Yeah, that's not
No, I was thinking of the Carpentersville, that open space.
By the river,
Right, by
Yeah.
the river there also.
where that home there was a home
Oh,
that
yes,
used to be there.
that was Green Acres funds, and I think that's definitely usable for community garden purposes. Yeah, I don't see that violating any type of Green Acres restriction. I mean, if that's the location you pick, I would suggest that you just send a letter into Green Acres saying, hey, we're planning on doing this, just to make sure they don't object. We don't want to do it.
Now, would the township then regulate the hours, since it's a
yeah.
municipal, like a park
You can-
almost,
you can-
dawn to dusk?
You completely regulate, the times of access and things, just,
No lights.
but yeah.
Yeah,
it's-
but just people, you don't want people going on the property after dark or something.
Yes,
Yeah.
it can be regulated, it just has to be open whenever hours you pick and stuff, for the general public.
Okay.
Can you, charge a nominal fee so that, if we're worried about people from out of town coming, I mean, they're not going to come if they have to pay.
I don't think there's any restriction on, I think you can charge, by way of example, the analogy is Oxford Lake, that's a Green Acres.
You can't just charge people different
I think-
amounts. You could charge like $10 for everybody. Because I think there's pools too that are Green Acres and they can't.
Oxford even has a resident, and I think a non-resident, but I'm not positive about that. But I think we could, again, that we would run by Green Acres if we decide to use that property. But I think you can charge a small, modest fee as long as there's some uniformity with it.
Okay.
I'd want to double check and confirm my view on that, but I believe so because I know of other Green Acres properties. As I said, I know Oxford Lake for one. They charged for admission to the lake, and that's definitely a Green Acres project. So I think you can do it. There's sort of some limitations, but
When's the next meeting, Doctor? Is it the mid of February? Okay, maybe we could have some strong, we could know where we stand on that by that meeting, so then we can see how
is
to
that
proceed.
definitely of interest, those lots down there?
I think, yeah, I think the one next to Vangeli Park, and then, we could also look at the one in Carpentersville. The only problem with the one in Carpentersville, I think, would be parking would be difficult there.
They're both Green Acres lots?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, we
The
can have-
park, yes. I believe that's Green
No, it's
Acres,
Green
yeah. That is Green Acres. So,
I mean, that to me is the ideal situation because you have parking the whole 9 yards there. You don't have to worry. But we can look at that other property.
just to have options.
Right, just to have options.
All right, I'll get a letter out to Green Acres and just say, hey, we're considering something along these lines. And make sure that they can let them give us the parameters.
Yeah, if they could spell it out for us, and then we can see how to proceed further.
And if we can charge.
Okay.
Do you want to wait on the press release till we get a response from Green Acres, or can I go ahead and put the press release out? I don't want to put the cart before the horse.
Yeah, I mean, people aren't going to know whether they're interested in that.
Yeah, we got to know the
Let's
rules.
just say that it's, we're anticipating doing it, you know, in that aspect.
Okay.
And that more information will be forthcoming.
I mean, I know they're just concerned to be on a timeline to try to get people interested for this year
For
yet.
the spring, yeah, that makes sense.
We'll know by the first meeting in February.
But, you know, do an initial and then do another one.
Yeah, I'd say we're probably, 2 weeks away from knowing the answer. Yeah, barring the state gets back to us, which,
Okay.
you know. All right, great, thank you. And then, I guess we'll move right along to the attorney's report.
I sent each of you by email an attorney's report. As I said, this year I'm going to try to, and again, going forward, between weather and I had a trial earlier this week, it was a little difficult. I'll try to get this out to you guys at least Friday before Tuesday meetings, and that way we can keep track of any legal issues. Not a lot going on. Yeah, Carpentersville Road, as I just mentioned, the DOT wants to give us some small strips of right-of-way. There was a resident, Jay Kranz, who owns a piece of property adjacent to one of the strips, and he had inquired as to whether it would be potentially usable as access if the township requires it, or what those parameters would be. So
You would just be doing a driveway across it like any other piece of right of way.
yeah, I wasn't sure. Yeah, so I'll review that with Gwen, and we can put those contracts on the agenda for the February meeting. I did send the descriptions to Gwen. I wasn't really sure what exactly it was. But, I did circulate a draft background check ordinance. We've had some discussion about that, and we have an upcoming baseball and other seasons. So I found we have to tweak it somewhat, of course, but I found a pretty decent ordinance in another township that deals with requiring background checks for any volunteer coaches for any groups that utilize municipal fields. So if that's of interest to everybody, I'll get that drafted and circulated for consideration at that first February meeting.
Did that involve any expense?
No, actually, just to clarify,
Yeah.
Sal and I were at the rec meeting, and the rec is going to pay for that as far as the costs of the background check. They're going to decide how they want to pursue it, whether or not they make the individuals pay for it, or they're going to pay for it, and then if you fail, you're stuck with the cost. But that's the decision that they're going to make, but they want us to pursue this. Right, Sal? I think that was pretty clear at that meeting.
They came and see you.
Did they call you, Jeff?
No.
They didn't come down and see you.
I don't think you can do it with the chief. Anyway, the one, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's not really a big deal expense-wise, but it may be an inconvenience, because don't they have to go to Hagedorn?
You have to go through the state police.
Yeah,
It depends
you're
on
gonna
what
have to go-
background you're doing. If you're doing just like an area check, I mean, we can do that. But if you're looking for a full-blown criminal,
Right.
investigation, you can fingerprint it and go through the
It's
state police.
Same group, when you're adopting a child or going through DIFUS, or as an attorney and certain professionals, when you have to get all those fingerprinting and background checks. I think the closest one's going to be at Hagedorn, which is in Glen Gardner.
Okay.
Sorry, Glen Gardner.
And I think the fingerprinting, if I remember correctly, was like $75 and then, or $90.
Depends what it's for.
It's actually,
Yeah, I
there's
think-
one
I think
cheaper
there's-
for coaches I saw.
there
It's
is a
like
cheaper-
$25 one for coaches I
I
saw.
think
It was
there's less expensive.
much, but there was something in the ordinance that I saw, and if we could amend ours when we're just setting this up.
Okay.
There was an exclusion for people who have already completed a background, like for people who are police officers or who have gotten one within the past 3 years,
Okay.
rather than be redundant, like if someone's a teacher or a
And
police
public
officer.
people,
Yeah,
because-
because I think we have a lot of people who have probably already gotten background
And
check.
that was this, but again, this would be specifically for Pocahontas residents doing things in Pocahontas, not for a coach from another team coming from
Well, yeah, we wouldn't-
Well, but it would be if you are a coach, if you're coaching in Pohatcong and you live in Greenwich, you would have to get this.
I understand
Yeah, that- I'm just clarifying.
I'm talking about an away team.
Yes, but even if you live in another town, you would still have to get this if you're coaching our children.
You're using
Yeah.
our field.
Gotcha, yeah.
As the home field.
Yeah.
So, okay, so we'll put that together for the next meeting. And I also, the mayor did circulate, and that's for non-municipal employee volunteers. And then I think a similar policy, if you'd like one, you can incorporate a background check provision into our existing personnel policy
Might as well.
for new hires.
Yeah.
P-Berg has done that.
Somebody's-
Schools do it, so that would not be in the ordinance, we just put in our personnel policy, because obviously we control our direct hires.
Even a substitute teacher.
Really, every job now, you gotta get drug tested and fingerprinted, so,
But
yeah.
if you can make it a little less wordy.
Yeah, it will be, I just wanted to give you guys,
Those are big.
I just wanted to give you guys a sense of it, it'll be pretty straightforward.
Yeah, and I don't know if I saw this in here too, the rec, there wasn't a place, since our rec is a separate entity,
Yeah.
there has to be a policing mechanism in case someone appeals. Is there a procedure for that too? Because the rec technically, I don't think would want to have that.
We'll probably, I guess, have to get a roster of coaches, and whoever is a rec liaison, that would be
Sal,
Sal,
yeah.
or whoever has that on the council, would get a roster and would have to get it, make sure we look down the roster, make sure we have on file the background check.
Okay.
That's the way we're going to have to do it. We don't have a rec director per se as that ordinance, but we do have a liaison on the committee, which you could were very fortunate. Yeah, it's not, a lot of extra expense. It's just,
Yeah, and like I said, they came to us about this, so, we're going to follow up with it.
so that will take care, we'll have a draft ordinance for you guys to look at before the next meeting, well in advance of the next meeting. Other things on my report, TCI, we probably should have a short executive session to just discuss briefly the recommendation of our architect regarding potential partial payment. Quaker Steak and Lube, that had come up because you guys have all been looking for shovels in the ground out there and keep wondering why it's not happening. Apparently why it's not happening is the Warren County Planning Board won't give their approval, primarily, I guess, because the Greenwich extension has not been dedicated by deed yet and has not been accepted by the county. But as I pointed out in my memo to you guys this evening, neither has Bliss Boulevard, but both are bonded. And the improvements are obviously in. And I think the issue here, when I last spoke with the attorney for Walmart, is there's a very complex ownership structure. That entire project is a ground lease. So, but in order to effectively convey a dedication deed, that has to actually be executed by fee title owners. Well, that property is owned by multiple trusts. When I asked for a title search, it was just so, and the other factor is some of those folks, I believe, are out of country in Israel and elsewhere. I know Gwen has dealt with this as well. So I think maybe if you want to do just a very short letter, I could draft it on behalf of the council, just encouraging the Warren County Planning Board to perhaps eliminate that as a condition of the approval.
Yeah, I mean,
because it's bonded, we have plenty of protection, and it is ultimately going to happen. So if you want me to draft a short letter to that effect, I will. I think we can't get it going.
Yeah, because I mean, if it was good enough for the Bliss Boulevard side for us, and if the county's so in favor of seeing some growth and development, you think they wouldn't be holding this project up. So I think a letter would be.
Okay. I'll do that, and I'll copy the county council. And as I said, like as soon as, remember, we recall earlier in the year, we had some issues with snow plowing. As soon as we brought that to their attention, they immediately jumped on it. So they are doing what they're supposed to do as far as maintaining that road up until we accept the dedication. And in conjunction with getting the deed on Bliss, Gwen will do a final inspection to make sure there's no issues. Then there'll be maintenance bonds posted. I mean, so both the county and the township are well protected, so I don't see why the planning board, the county planning board wouldn't relent on that issue. So I'll do a short letter and see if we can't encourage them to do that. We have executive session for a salary issue, I guess, perhaps. EAI litigation, the land use board has approved that settlement agreement, so I guess I can get that from Wanda or Wendy. Did they? Oh, they didn't? Oh, it was tabled. Okay, because I saw Lynn's memo.
We have a meeting on Monday.
Oh, okay. It's on the agenda then? Okay. I see Len, it looks like Len has concurred that it's something that can be approved without any detriment to the town. I approved the Maple Avenue Bridge repair maintenance bond that Gwen sent me. And finally, we did get some, tort claims notice follow-up on the unfortunate accident down on River Road that cost 2 people their lives. We do have an adjuster working on that, and I forwarded her information to Gwen. Really, Gwen would be about the only person I know that would have any information beyond the chief, and I think they already contacted you at this point.
Correct.
Look over the contract that was given to you at the last meeting for the,
I do. I have that here. I'm delinquent on that. Well, I will get together with you, chief, on that. We'll have that done by February.
Okay.
I just realized that master. Yeah, I
All right,
have that.
then.
I'll call you tomorrow on that.
Sounds good.
I think that's it for
We
me.
have one officer who's very interested in that.
Yeah.
All right, thank you, Kevin.
And he has my cell number. by the way.
Yeah. All right, thank you, Kevin. Gwen?
Just a couple items. We submitted this past week on Monday the formal applications to DEP for the 2 bridge projects. We had completed the Maple Avenue project with the emergency authorization, and as we discussed before, since the River Road one has been put off. DEP asked that we just apply for the formal one, so they've been sent in. I got a phone call, or actually an email from Alpha's engineer talking about another water improvement project that they're planning to do, and she was asking what information we would need for them to go forward with it. And last year they had done one, and I think, Mayor, you had we're going to meet with them I think it was the councilman that comes to the meetings here and decide. She's asking if they need to get street opening permits, inspection, things like that. And I don't know how you resolved it with the last project, so I wasn't sure what to tell her. And subsequent to that, she did email me again and said that they're looking at the project and they're going to be probably reducing the scope, and she wasn't sure if Cohasset streets were still going to be there.
Yeah.
If they
There
are,
we go.
I wanted to have an answer for her so that they can move forward with the work.
I think as long as our residents are notified, and I think the discussion was that Alpha would be liable, correct, for any issues? Do we have to actually memorialize something, though? Is that?
Well, I mean, the procedure would typically be that they would get a street opening permit, just like the utility companies get. And then the work gets inspected and make sure that they put, proper backfill material in and sufficient asphalt and things like that, that they repair the road so that it's going to last. There had been issues probably about 10 years ago or something with a project that did not go so well.
Middle ground, I suppose, one, I guess we could require the issuance of a street opening permit, but we could waive fees if there are any. And I think that would be I would like to see you inspect because we have had issues in the past.
I would too, definitely.
But we could waive the fees. It's not a fee issue. We just want to make sure our road gets back right. So
Well, then
that's what I would
Who's going to
suggest.
pay for Gwen, though?
yeah, that
Well, the inspection fees will have to be what they are, I agree, but at least we can do what we can do to help them out with their budget. Well, we can waive the
Permit
fee and things as a,
right.
gesture of courtesy, and that's what I would suggest. But to not have you guys inspect. We've just had too many issues, I think, don't you agree? And I know they have.
Well, I just wouldn't want to have the
It's
same.
not properly
situation.
compacted
Now,
and
this is a
filled.
whole different engineering company. It's not the same person
Yeah, that's
who
true.
was there at the time, but, and I would like to see the plans too, just to make sure they're
Well, would our,
for the proper backfill and.
would our involvement in it delay their work? Like, how quick are we
Oh,
going to
no.
be to respond?
No, I mean, we wouldn't want them to be starting a water line replacement project in the dead of winter anyway.
Yeah.
Pave it, so, I had even said to her, we would be looking for it to start once we know the asphalt plants are open again in the spring. So.
I think that's a good way to handle it. We don't, whatever your inspection fees are, but, bill the Borough of Alpha, but not to charge them the fees, the initial fees, I think is fair.
Okay, what happens is they apply for the permit, and there's a cost then for the permit based on the area of, actually, I think for street openings, it's based on the estimated number of days that the project is going to take to cover the inspection cost per day. So they would give us the plans, the estimate of how long the work's going to take, and then the fee would just be multiplied out based on that.
Do we need a motion or something, or some type of thing to?
Well, that's how, maybe a motion to waive
Waive
the
the fee,
application
okay.
fee.
All right, well, we'll put that on. with-
Otherwise, all the requirements of the
Okay.
street permit would remain in place.
All right. All right, that's what we'll do then. No, we're gonna do it with the motions. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, the Route 122 mill and overlay project that we discussed a couple times before that the state's going to do. We have 4 sanitary sewer manholes in that road, and initially the state wanted us to purchase the manhole frames and covers, and they would have them installed, which is fair since they are our sewers. But anyway, I guess we delayed responding by signing the agreement long enough that they called up and they said, well, okay, just tell us what boundary pattern number you want and we'll buy and
Called
put it
their
in
bluff.
for you. There we go. We had one of our young engineers went out and met with Donnie and Jeff and took measurements, and we picked out a pattern number and let them know. So
When's that project supposed to start? Glenn?
I would imagine in the spring. also.
Springtime?
Yeah, I didn't get a date from them. And my last item is, again, a couple months ago, I was talking, John and Rosemary Holma came into my office. Of course, John has since passed away. But they were looking to install a sanitary sewer to hook their 3 properties onto the properties off of Hawk Avenue.
Yeah.
Like, how many properties?
There's 3. There's the shop in the front, and then there's 2 single-family homes further up on the hill. So their engineer contacted me, and I was talking with Gene Weber. We looked into it, and one of those parcels, actually the shop, is included in the wastewater, the sewer service area in our draft wastewater management plan. Then the lot that abuts that is not included in it, and then half of the lot on the other side of that is included in it, which makes no sense. So they're asking if the township could make a recommendation to the Highlands Council that they include all 3 of their parcels in it, since they're all surrounded by other sewer service area properties.
The Homas were asking?
Yes, and Gene had actually sent an email to the planner at the Highlands and said, this is kind of strange, what's going on, and they said that it would be appropriate that all of these parcels be put in if, the township desires, so.
So the Highlands has this weird spot where some of it is and some of it isn't in the sewer service area.
Like if you start at their property and walk the shop is in, then the next lot's not, then the first half of the other lot is in it and the back half isn't.
I don't believe that.
I have the map.
No, I do.
Well, why don't you speak up?
So we could add that to the motion, just a motion to send a letter to the Highlands Council asking them to put all those lots in. I certainly
Yeah.
think that would be appropriate. It'd be silly to have those bifurcated by septic and sewer.
Here, I'll prove to one of your council members here. So this one's in, this one's not, this half of this lot's in, and that back half's not.
I mean, collectively, Gwen, you're not talking about a lot of sewer capacity to service any of those
There's
lots.
Looks like a voting district.
Two single-family homes and
Right.
their little shop.
Gwen,
No,
you're saying it's 3, not 4?
it's 3. Yeah.
I think that's what John had told me before originally.
No, it's just now. That's what
Yeah,
makes
they
it
have,
4.
here's.
I'd like to see
Stop on
why
this
they did it.
Well,
This one and this
see the math behind it.
Yeah, I'd like to see the.
Well, it is the Highlands Council. The logic. Is there logic for that, really?
one. Yeah, that's this
I
one.
remember being a teacher, I can't take too much fun on it.
That's on the same property though.
It may have something to
And
do
that
with
one is in the
It's
Just the lots
two
front
structures on
on.
the same lot?
Yeah, that one is in the sewer service area. Then this one is not,
Squirrely.
and then this part of the big lot's in it, and the back part's not in it. So it's just kind of weird that they have those two open.
Well, it doesn't surprise me that that's the way, the Highlands did it, because I mean, you know how they scientifically decide where the water is.
Yeah.
They're not funded either.
All right, so that's.
Gwen, in drafting the letter, just for kicks and giggles, would you be able to have them supply us with the report or study that designated it that way, if such thing exists?
Okay.
Oh, you know,
Yeah, I'll ask, actually, Gene Weber's the one who's in contact with them. over
Okay.
this Because they did it as part of the planning board, so I'll ask him if he can find out what they're.
yeah, I mean, they probably won't answer it, but I'm just curious. Just curious.
Well, they did say in the email that the properties had not been in the sewer service area previously, but that's because they weren't sewered. So that would make sense, but why they weren't added in, they didn't have a reason.
Something special at the Homer property.
Yeah. That's all I have.
All right, Gwen, I just had two quick things. The first is with 519 and 22, the middle intersection there. To go, if you're going towards the Honda dealership, you're making the left from the middle intersection. I think it would be appropriate if there were lines that went the full length of the turning lane, because currently, right now, there's no lines at all. I think there might be a few dotted lines, but what happens is people keep veering. I see it every time I'm there.
They're going to turn left to head towards like the Phillipsburg Mall.
Well,
area.
they veer from the far left and go into the right and almost sideswipe people. So I think if there were lines, as sad as that is, to tell people where they have to be. I think.
Yeah, do that.
I think made that recommendation.
Yeah, Barry made, yeah.
Barry did before.
Go for the middle so that you're in the right lane, whereas people will be in that far lane, they'll turn and they'll cut you off.
Yeah,
Right over to the
you're right.
sandwich shop.
All right, I'll talk to DOT about that.
And would they have to do it? We can't really do it.
No, that's their intersection and their road.
Chief, would you be able to, in case we get any pushback, pull all the sideswipe accidents or incidents from that? Yeah, I know there are. And just send that down if we need supporting documentation, just because that's a mess there, so.
I had one question for Gwen. Gwen, where do we stand on the structure for the River Road project, timeframe, precast? Have you heard anything back from anybody yet? Or?
It's been poured already. They did it a couple days, last week. I think I got a call from them.
Okay, so it's done or in the process? So as soon as the weather breaks, then they can?
Yep.
Okay, very good.
Gwen, and I had one more thing. The light on Bliss Boulevard in St. James for the mall has changed dramatically as far as timing. Do you know why that happened or how that happened? it's,
That's a county signal there.
would you be able to write a letter to the county to ask why they changed that light?
Like the timing change?
Yeah, the timing is like the green light going from Walmart into Parkside is almost over 30 seconds. It's pretty long, and there's usually only like 2 or 3 cars there, and then the traffic backs up all
St.
it
James.
doesn't make sense, and really I don't think we want to encourage people going, that whole intersection needs to be looked at, but for right now it doesn't seem like it makes sense.
So it's too long in which direction going?
Going across, leaving the Walmart into, it just blocks up traffic, and then people can't get out of the neighborhood. So I hit it daily. It's usually like a 3-second light. Everyone gets out, and now it's very long. So I don't know why they changed it.
All right.
Thank you.
I have one thing.
Oh, yeah, go ahead, Frank.
We had the historic meeting last night, and one of the things that came up was the Still Valley Road Tunnel, and they got the plan for the wing walls, and
They expressed some concern about the drainage, and they wondered if they could coordinate with you or when we engineer the wing walls, if we can incorporate some drainage relief there. I think they said that if I'm remembering right, the drainage is designed to allow drainage from the top and all around, but it seems like it's coming mostly from the side. So.
Well, they did the waterproofing part of the project. They put a impermeable liner on the top with perforated pipe then along the sides of it to drain the water down along the backs of each of the wing walls. So the water is coming out with each quarter.
That's the way it was designed then.
Yes.
Okay. Could I just ask you to speak to, I think Mike Margolis might reach out to you
Okay.
to discuss that and see if that's the way it's best or whatever.
I didn't like
If you could just
the design of it, to be honest with you.
Maybe there's some,
And
I mean, we got the grant money.
The whole, that we have designed and have the plans for the repairs to that. They're done. The plans and specifications are done for the repair work to the wing walls and spandrel wall, or the wing walls and spandrel wall.
We'll be talking about making another grant application.
We did, and we got it.
We did.
And it was, and we were concerned, we thought they would actually cut it back, and they didn't cut it back at all.
So we have more grant monies right now.
So we have more grant money right now. We have to match, so something, but I think since we got the whole thing we asked for, there may be some way we can improve that drainage. Or
Yeah, okay.
so if you can coordinate
We
with
have to
Mike.
go design bids or we have to get Gwen working on bid specs then? We'll have to bid for that, since we got-
Specs was all done. though,
Specs
right?
were all done.
Yeah, we have the plans and specs done.
That was part of it.
So should we be getting a motion to go out to bid on that? For that.
Well, let's see, if we talk to Mike and see what is going on, because to be honest with you, I haven't gone out there to see what's going on with the drainage and.
If you have the money, have
And
the
it's
plan.
another thing, it's like the River Road thing, you're not going to do anything imminently anyway.
That's true.
Yeah, they ran.
Been a nice summer project.
Dry well, they
You have to bid like in March,
ran
April.
the pipes down onto the road. Fine.
All right, anyone else have any questions for Gwen? All right, we'll move right along then to Frank.
Okay, I might as well continue with the Still Valley Road Tunnel. One of the things we met last night with the Historic Commission, and one of the things that they had asked, and I think we talked about this once before, where they wanted to make sure that the tree growth on top was cut probably at least annually,
Because they're worried about the growth, and I guess, is the DPW going to do that?
Say that again, Frank?
The tree growth on top of the Still Valley Tunnel. I think you agree it's probably desirable to cut those trees at least like once a year.
You don't want the roots getting down into the line.
Probably would best to remove them totally. You don't, like she said, you don't want the roots to grow through. I can have our guys take a look at it and see. Tree removal, generally they sub most of that out anymore, but I can stop by and take a look at it. Because there shouldn't be very many trees of any size.
Yeah, I don't think there is. I think they're just concerned, like, if you get them when they're small.
Right.
Then it's not much of a job.
They just cut it a couple times a year.
Has that been surveyed out to show where our property as a township ends or not? Is there pins anywhere or?
Now, we have, from what I recall, I didn't do the work when we acquired the tunnel. I think it was 50 feet on either side. Of the outside of the tunnel.
Okay. Yeah, I can stop and take a look at it. I think that's right in my backyard.
Okay, thank you. We discussed, I think at the last meeting, there was a motion to give a letter of support for the removal of the dam. And I just requested to run that by the Historic Commission first. And they have no objection. They just like to add some language about signage and participation in the process to that letter. And I think there was supposed to be a signage for the last one they removed, and they still haven't got that signed, so they're going to get that going. But I think that was a reasonable request, and I think we can go ahead with that letter. The Historic District, Regalsville Historic District, they're applying for recognition of it as a historic district, and they've got first draft of an application put together. It still needs a lot of work. And they've submitted their budget, which I think we're going to talk about budgets, as we said earlier in February anyway, but their budget submission was 20% lower than last year's budget. Last year's budget was a lot higher than what they spent, so we'll address that later. The website, we met with, I guess, Wanda, Wendy, Susan, the chief, and Scott Robb met with Jeff Castings on the website, and we got a training session. So now multiple people are able to update the website, and it's I think after that training session, there's been a lot added, and we appreciate that. I think it's pretty up to date now. There's still some issues though with the website with the when you Google Powhatan, you get powhatan.com still, and like you get an error when and it says powhatan.com, which is not our powhatantownship.org is our official website, and when you Google Powhatan, it says powhatan.com is the official website, which it's not. So we still need to work on that. And there's still some email problems that we need to resolve that we think are related to the new website. Moving on to the budget. We're starting, I think we're going to start to have meetings in February like we did last year with each of the groups that submitted budget requests. And last year it was March when we did it. This year it's going to be February. I'd like to continue that nice advancement. Wouldn't it be nice if we had a budget before the start of the year? And I'll get taxes. I'd like to point out, and it's kind of related to budgets. We talked about the Phillipsburg tax mall appeal before and how that's a high hill to climb. $1.3 million is what we're settling for. And I don't think we can expect much help from the state. There was a report that CNBC put out that New Jersey ranked 50th out of 50 states in terms of fiscal position. They're last in terms of budget solvency and long-run solvency. So I don't think there's going to be a lot of money coming from the state. And sadly, Powhatan made the list of the worst 30 towns in New Jersey in terms of taxes, property taxes relative to the income of the residents. So we have challenges that we're going to need to address. And that's the end of my report.
Thank you, Frank. Dave?
I'd just like to start out, there's no DPW report as we had a report last meeting. I'll have another one next week. With the Environmental Commission, we had a good meeting on Monday. We discussed the community garden that we'd like to try to set up. There was lots of interest. Tried to do some logistics. And as you saw, we were here tonight and discussed it before council. We're also waiting to hear some testimony from an expert on the weed issues, the noxious weed ordinance that we're trying to come up with. We're waiting to try to hear some testimony before we draft any kind of ordinance to bring to council. That's about it for the Environmental Commission, other than the chair has changed hands. I stepped down as the chair, and Dr. Hernandez has taken over. Starting next month, he will chair the Environmental Commission for us. Land use, Mayor and I, we were at the last meeting. We abstained from any discussion, but I guess it would be okay to say that school board did get their approvals for the solar project they're looking to do there. Other than that, was there anything else on the agenda? That was pretty much it that night.
Yeah, that was
pretty much the whole shoot.
Yeah.
Other than that, I have nothing further really to report on my half. Mayor, thank you.
All right, thank you. Mary?
I have a monthly police report. The police department responded to 478 calls for service, and they issued 242 traffic summonses, and they did make 18 arrests. Your CI unit opened 20 new cases. Another unannounced lockdown drill was conducted at the Powhatan School, and it seems now that the staff and the students are becoming more proficient and that they're performing very well when it happens. So the police department will continue to work with Powhatan School, and they also do work with Stepping Stone Schools too. Patrolman Robert Paulus, he will be attending a week-long active shooter instructor course, and it's sponsored and paid for by the Warren County Prosecutor's Office. Then in turn, he will train police departments throughout Warren County, not just our police department, in tactical response to shooting events. And all required end-of-the-year reports, that's for 2013, including use of force, vehicle pursuit, firearms, qualifications, and internal affairs, have been submitted to the Warren County Prosecutor's Office, and the end-of-the-year performance evaluations have been completed. Also, our license plate reader that we got this year and have on one of our vehicles, actually it paid for itself.
Already? Wow.
So, a word of warning, make sure your registration is up to date, your driver's license is up to date, etc.
I understand our land use board attorney.
Yes, and he deserved it. He was what, 3 months?
Yeah, 3 months.
He got a ticket for not having an up-to-date, was it registration?
Registration, I
Yeah.
think.
He let it slide, or he forgot about it, or whatever. Doesn't matter.
Do you have
Long arm is a long.
You have anything? Oh, all right.
Other than going to the governor's inauguration, that was interesting.
Yeah, it was. It was
Swearing-in ceremony.
a fun
With all
ride.
the snow on the roads and everything, our little group made it down to Trenton. See him sworn in.
All right. Sal?
I have met with our new zoning officer and had to get him a badge, get his picture taken. Badge, picture taken, and all types of security form. when I know he's gonna get some squawk from some people, I tell him beforehand. And he seems to be working out real good, this gentleman. And he's dedicated, and he's doing his job. You know, the three that I told you is the three that we're going after first. So we'll take it from there. On 627, the county is out there surveying it. I think we're going to get new curbing and new stormwater drains on 627. And they're going to mill that road. So that's a plus for us.
Just a section or all of it?
Oh, no. I think up to the school, hopefully all the way down, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Because there's so much macadam on that road, it's higher than a curb line. So it's going to take a lot of money and effort to get this job done. It won't be all of it. I could tell you that.
Does that mean our county taxes will go up?
Like everything else. That's about it. If anyone has any questions, I'll be...
So we'll wait for public comment, all right, buddy?
Okay.
All right, thank you. All right. The two things I just wanted to briefly go over is the first is that I got to see today the new animal control system that we have in place, which is pretty neat as far as updating our roster of animals and inputting all the information. I did speak to Susan about there is an issue, however, with the old forms and the new computer system as far as the transfer of information. It's kind of difficult to transcribe it. So she's probably going to have to take a few more hours to get that done because there's a lot of dog applications there. But I will say that this new system is amazing. You can search by breed, by person, by license number, and it's all there. You don't have to be digging through a book to find it. So I think it was a very good move on our part to go with that. And the second thing is just, I know we had I had an email sent to you all, but the governor did pocket veto the sprinkler legislation that our council didn't approve of. So I just thought I'd pass that along as well. And that's all I had. So I believe we have a ordinance for second reading that if someone would like to make a motion to open to public.
That we open for public comment on ordinance 14-01, calendar year 2013, ordinance to exceed the municipal budget appropriation limits and to establish a tax rate.
Is there a second? Oh yeah, is that supposed to be 2014?
I'm sorry, yeah, I fixed it.
Oh, gee, and I'm just reading right from the thing, not even,
You're a robot.
yes, I am.
All right, so there's a motion with the amended year. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Aye. Okay, is there any public comment on this ordinance? Seeing none, do I have a motion to close and adopt?
Close public comment and adopt this ordinance.
Salford.
Okay. Brennan?
Yes.
Black?
Yes.
Miller? Yes. Vanderbilt?
Yes.
Mayor Kern?
Yes. Okay, motions to authorize me to send a letter to support the removal of the Warren County and Hughesville Dam to the National Fish and Wildlife Foundation as requested by the Musconetcong Watershed Association with the conditions included in the Historic Preservation Commission's meeting minutes.
Also, the application fee? To waive that?
Yes, and then a motion to waive the application fee for the Borough of Alpha
So I would move those two items.
for that specific project.
Right, I would move
Whatever that-
those two items.
Okay, we also have the other
going to have, Quinn, will you be drafting that letter to the Highlands, or would that be Mr. Weber? To authorize them to send the letter to the Highlands to include the 3 home
Probably
properties?
Jane would do it, yeah.
All right, so we should authorize Mr. Weber to send a letter to the Highlands asking them to include those 3 HOMA properties into the wastewater management plan?
You know, and while we're doing it, just to give it some muscle, authorize the attorney to contact the county to speed along the Quaker Steak and Loop project. I think that's appropriate to have a motion behind it.
Okay, well, I will move all of that.
There we go.
But I did-
So we've got 4 motions in total.
Yeah, they grew a little bit.
I'll make a motion for all 4 motions.
I think you're seconding.
Seconded them? Okay. We kept adding them.
Okay, Becker?
Yes.
Swett?
Yes.
Van Loo?
Yes.
Angeli?
Yes.
Yes. All right, general public comment. If there's any general public comment, please come forward, sign into the area, and yep, go ahead, sir.
Somebody want to sell me a pen?
Oh, there's no phone?
Yeah.
Would you like-
Got a pen thief. Pardon me.
My name is Enrique Hernandez, 301 River Road, Pohatcon. Councilman Becker mentioned that our township is on the list of towns with the highest tax burden in the state, in the top 30. That article that came out in NewJersey.com was brief and somewhat inaccurate, but fortunately one of the comments posted the original research, and I was able to download that, and I have a copy of it here. Sadly, this is based on data from 2008, so it's quite old, but I think it still has some useful points to be derived from it. The authors of the article note 12 different variables that cause the tax burden to be high. And many of these are out of our control, including the income of our residents. It'd be great if everyone was rich in town, and that would put our tax burden down, but that can't be done. But they do identify what are 3 factors that seem to be affecting Pohatcon to a great degree. One is a lack of school aid, obviously a topic for a different forum. The other is what they determine to be high municipal government spending. And I believe that this council and mayor have well aware of that and have made an effort to try to...
2008.
Exactly, 2008. And I've been attending enough meetings over the last 2.5, 3 years to know that everyone is keenly aware of controlling expenses at the municipal level. The third variable is what they call, let me just find that here, high county taxes per capita. And they determined that this is the most important factor in raising the tax burden for the town. And the authors of the study can find no explanation for that. And so my question to you is there anything that we can do about this? I mean, how is it that we end up with such a disproportionate amount of county tax, if I'm understanding the phrase correctly? Can we appeal to the Board of Chosen Freeholders? Can we ask that that situation be addressed in some way? I really, honestly, I'm not sure I understand how is it that county taxes can be higher per capita in one township and not in others. So I'm happy to hear any clarification.
Thank you. Kevin, would you be able to explain the county? Have you seen that report?
I haven't seen it. I mean, the only thing I can, county taxes, I think, are generally applied uniformly based upon the county equalization tables. But I don't know, Doctor, I'm wondering if maybe perhaps because Pohatcon's more rural, so we have less residents, whereas if you're in Lopatcon and you have a lot more residents, so the same burden getting spread across fewer people.
The only
in the world. But I'm not really sure. I mean, we'll try to find out.
Yeah, I know,
You know, and
Doctor,
Ben
I will-
Murdoch, really, our assessor would probably be the best one to, you know, so I'd be interested for the link. And I'll ask Ben,
It's on our
you know,
site.
is it? Okay.
Yeah, but I will say, Doctor, when this article came out, I contacted our auditor, Bill Schroeder, who does a lot of financial work, and he and I had a lot of back and forth that day because, you know, compared to other municipalities, if we were to get the state aid that some of the other towns in New Jersey would be getting, I think we'd be on the other end of that list, but we're not all that fortunate. But he and I are having a dialogue, and I'm asking him, it wasn't ready for tonight, but we're going to have some type of written memo so everyone understands it. But if you could maybe even link up with Bill too, just so that, because we need to know who to direct the information at. Because when I saw that too, I questioned why would Powhatan Township, out of all the towns in Warren County, be the highest, if I'm looking at it, the highest taxed. And it does seem odd, because I think when you look at other towns in Warren County, there are areas that I would think would be taxed higher, but
And I know the county has been trying to keep the taxes down too, like as far as increases and so forth.
yeah, but proportionally they tax us.
But
Yeah, but
still,
spending, yeah.
Mhm.
In recent years, they've kind of changed too as well. The county has changed from 2008 to now. So
And that's the thing.
so hopefully when,
6 years.
in 6 years when they do the next report, Powhatan won't be on that list.
Yeah, I also read the backup report that accompanied the article. And, I mean, I think the report is good in some ways and bad in others. I mean, you could say the price of bread in poor communities is a higher percentage. And I think somebody even commented to that effect. But, I mean, I think we should be mindful of what our residents, the burdens our residents are facing. And, you know, our residents, if the taxes are high relative to their income, I think that's a fair concern. And I think we should try our best to address that. And I think it is a good question. I don't know either what the mechanics of the county tax are. But and one of the things I disagree with the article is that in the report, it's at one point it says the schools and some of these other cost items aren't really the drivers, because I think they're just looking at it relative to income. But the costs are the drivers of higher taxes.
Absolutely.
Around that.
Yeah. Thank you for.
And school aid too, you know, different schools get different dollar amounts.
Right, Sal made that point.
So that makes a big impact.
Yeah. Thank you for your comment. Any other public comment? Yes, sir.
Jerry Kern, not to beat a dead horse, but I read the same article. And I've been saying it for years. This basically, in a nutshell, even though it is older data, it shows pretty much how we've been following, or how Powhatan taxes have been going up in relation to everything else. In a nutshell, it basically says at the end of the week, every Powhatan tax resident has that much less in their pocket than the other 540 municipalities, the people in them 540 municipalities in New Jersey. It's way off. We were 26th. That's absurd. And I like to blame it on, and I know it's a lot from it. Years ago when they wanted to build a school, we were building a big school because we were anticipating growth. But councils since then, and land use boards, have been anti-growth in Powhatan. Zero build. Zero. There's no way to sustain any kind of economy or any economics in a town with zero growth. Powhatan is an example of that. It's finally come home to roost. You need smart growth. You can't have no growth. All this regulation they've been applying on us is now going to cost us. It's time, and I'm not applying this to this council. This is the first council in over 10 years, me coming to these meetings, that has, I believe, seized the problem and has tried to address it in the best ways they can. I congratulate all of you for your efforts. but it was for so long, past councils and land use boards, with their attitudes to growth that have got us where we are today. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any other public comment? Seeing none, is there a motion for executive session to discuss potential litigation? Is that?
Yeah, contract, that would be TCI. Contract, I don't know if you wanted to talk.
Yeah,
the
contract.
Chiefs, or
Mhm.
two contracts, and
Personnel.
salary, personnel issue, correct?
Okay, and that should be about an hour, hour and a half. I'm going on the long side this time.
I'll make that motion, Mayor.
And I'll second it. Becker?
Yes.
Scott?
Yes. Mary.
Mangeli?
Yes.
Mangeli?
Yes.
Mangeli?
Yes.
Kern?
Yes.
Would it be
Yeah. All right, are we,
Okay, we're adjourning into executive session and returning to the regular meeting.
was there a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Okay, and all in favor?
Aye. All right, Kevin, the first for the TCI?
We just need a motion to authorize a partial payment to TCI, subject to receiving an amended application for payment number 24. That would be in the amount of $65,834.21 per the recommendation of our architect.
Excellent. Is there a motion for that?
you need to move that?
Yep, it's got to be moved.
I'll second it.
Okay, Becker?
Yes.
Scott?
Yes.
Van Loo? Yes. Mangeli?
Yes.
And Kern?
Yes.
Can I just ask a question, Kevin? How are they gonna, the TC gonna know to submit a revised?
Jay Parentoni from SSP has already communicated with them, and I'll let their attorney know as
All right,
well.
I didn't know if I had to do something.
Yeah, I spoke with Jay this morning.
Okay, thank you.
Let's see, what else? Jeff, these guys we didn't have time to, we sat there and talked about it, we don't have it in front of us. We will have your thing done.
Okay.
We're gonna do that
But
by February. These guys just haven't looked at it in detail enough, and nobody had any hard copies. And then what we'll do is, so next meeting we'll be prepared. We weren't prepared tonight, sorry about that.
Not a problem.
And then if we have questions or concerns or issues, obviously, we're gonna bring you back there. Because it's not a take it or leave it, it's a dialogue. So I didn't want to leave you hanging as to what happened back there. We started talking about it, we weren't ready.
Yeah.
But
We will be, we will be. And anything we do will be, we'll obviously set up the contract to start at the start of the year.
Okay.
But we
That was that.
do have a
We
motion
do-
to,
Miranda?
yeah,
The motion would be to establish
$28 an
the,
hour.
yeah.
$28 an hour.
$28 per hour with a 35,000.
I'll second Mary's.
Yeah, we don't need it, no. 28.
Okay, now, what was it, we're $28 an hour, what was the rest about?
That's it. It's
That's it,
$28
$28 an hour.
Okay, and that's Marion Davis, so Becker?
Yes.
Scott?
Yes.
Van Loo?
Yes.
Mangeli?
Yes.
And Kern?
Yes.
Okay, and who's going to tell Ed so that he knows about the sign of the contract?
So Jeff, what they did was we moved them to the top of the salary ordinance, and we roughly calculated that should be the 35 he's looking for. But if there's any question or concern about that.
Okay. I'm sure he'll be happy.
Okay.
Jeff, how many hours a week do you work?
All right, do we have a,
25.
Does Miranda do the Miranda?
all right,
All right.
is there a motion to adjourn?
I move we adjourn.
Second. There's nothing else, right, Kevin?
Aye.
No.
Okay, look at these new Olympic outfits.
So I guess you can tell
Oh, what are you
these
looking
guys the same thing. We're gonna order